You know that person at your job, the one who drives a regular car, wears normal clothes, never brags about vacations or designer stuff, and then one day casually mentions they paid off their house? Or that they've been maxing out their retirement account since they were 25. And you're standing there thinking, wait, what? Meanwhile, the loudest person in the room, the one constantly talking about their investments, their side hustles, their passive income streams, is somehow always broke by the 20th. That contrast, that quiet confidence versus the loud noise, that is exactly what this video is about. My name is Miles, and I spend way too much time thinking about the silent psychology behind how people actually build wealth. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right on paper but still can't seem to get ahead financially, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, we're going deep on the habits, the quiet ones, that separate people who are genuinely winning with money from people who just look like they are. Let me start by challenging something most of us just assume. We assume that people who know a lot about money talk about money. We think wealth is visible. We think financial success looks like a certain lifestyle, the cars, the watches, the constant posts about building the bag. But here's what most people don't realize. A 2019 study from The Millionaire Next Door, updated research from Thomas Stanley's original work, found that the majority of millionaires in America live in middle-class neighborhoods, drive used cars, and shop at regular grocery stores. They are, by almost every external measure, unremarkable. And that's not an accident. That's a strategy. See, there's this concept called social performance spending, where we spend money not on things we actually need or even want, but on things that signal status to other people. And the data on this is kind of alarming. The average American spends roughly $1,497 a month on non-essential purchases, according to a Schwab Modern Wealth survey. That's almost $18,000 a year, gone on stuff largely driven by what other people might think. The quiet money people, they've mostly opted out of that game entirely. So the first habit, and this one sounds almost too simple, is automation. Quiet financial people don't rely on willpower. They don't trust themselves to remember to save. They don't wait to see what's left over at the end of the month. Because here's the thing, there is never anything left over at the end of the month if you don't pay yourself first. Here's a quick math example to make this real. If you're making $55,000 a year, take home maybe around $3,800 a month, and you automate just 15% of that into a retirement account from day one, you're moving $570 a month before you ever touch it. After 30 years, assuming an average 7% market return, you're looking at roughly $680,000. Now, if instead you meant to invest that but kept manually deciding month to month, research from behavioral economist Shlomo Benartzi shows that people who have to manually save on average 40% less than people who automate. 40% less, just because of the friction involved in making an active decision. The quiet money person set it up once, forgot about it, and let time do the work. No spreadsheets every week, no constant motivation required, just systems. Now this one is more psychological, and honestly, it might be the most important one. Quiet financial people accept, sometimes even embrace, the fact that their choices won't make sense to people around them. They drive the 2018 Honda Civic when they could technically afford something fancier. They don't go on the group trip that costs $3,000. They pack lunch, they negotiate bills, and they do all of this without explaining themselves, without feeling guilty, and without needing anyone's approval. That is genuinely hard for most people because we are wired, and I mean neurologically wired, for social belonging. A 2021 Harvard study on social pain found that financial peer pressure activates the same brain regions as physical pain. So when your friend group is all spending a certain way and you're not, that discomfort is real. It's not weakness, it's biology. But here's what's interesting. Quiet money people have essentially reprogrammed that response. They've shifted their identity. Instead of getting validation from spending, they get it from progress, from watching the number in their account grow, from knowing something their peers don't see yet. They've replaced one dopamine trigger with another, and that shift is everything. Now, you might be thinking, Miles, this is easy to do if you make a lot of money. And yeah, I get why it feels that way, but this is actually one of the biggest myths in personal finance. Quiet financial people are not necessarily high earners. What they obsess over, quietly, is something I call the spread, the gap between what comes in and what goes out, and they protect that spread like it's sacred. Here's the thing most people get backwards. They think income is the key variable, so they chase the raise, the new job, the side hustle. But then lifestyle expands to match the new income. Economists call this lifestyle inflation or hedonic adaptation, and the spread stays exactly the same. Or worse, it shrinks. There's a term for this, Parkinson's law, originally about work expanding to fill time, but it applies perfectly to money. Expenses will expand to fill whatever income is available unless you deliberately prevent it. A person making $45,000 with a $1,000 a month spread is building more wealth than someone making $120,000 with a $200 a month spread. The math doesn't care about your salary, it cares about what you keep. Quiet financial people know this, and so instead of asking, how do I earn more, they're simultaneously asking, how do I keep more of what I already earn? Both questions, always. This is where it gets really interesting. We live in a world that rewards speed, fast decisions, fast shipping, fast results, and that energy seeps into our financial behavior in really dangerous ways. Quiet money people move slow on purpose. They don't buy the thing the day they see it. They don't make major purchases without a waiting period, sometimes 48 hours, sometimes 30 days. They don't react to market volatility. They don't chase trends. They don't take the limited time offer. There's solid research behind this. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that implementing a 24-hour waiting period before purchases reduced impulse buying by up to 24%. And for larger purchases, the benefit compounds. Think about the last time you bought something impulsively that you later regretted. I know I've done it. We've all done it. Now imagine if every time you felt that urge, you just waited, slept on it, asked yourself the next morning if you still wanted it. Sometimes you will, and you buy it without guilt because it was a deliberate choice. But a surprising percentage of the time, the urge passes, the dopamine spike fades, and you realize you didn't actually want the thing, you wanted the feeling the thing promised. Quiet money people have learned to distinguish between those two things, and that distinction saves them thousands of dollars a year. I'll be honest with you, this one is kind of unsexy. Quiet money people are not usually the ones in the group chat talking about crypto plays or hot stocks or the next big thing. They're not trying to 10x their portfolio in 6 months. They're not on Reddit at 2 a.m. looking at meme stocks. They're invested in index funds, they're maxing out their 401k, they're buying term life insurance, building an emergency fund, and paying down debt systematically. They are doing the boring stuff, consistently, for years. And I know that sounds dull, but here's the math that should wake you up. Warren Buffett, probably the most celebrated investor alive, has 99% of his wealth generated after his 50th birthday. Not because he suddenly got smarter, but because compound interest had been running quietly in the background for decades, and at some point, the math just takes off. $10,000 invested at 25 becomes roughly $149,000 by age 65 at a 7% return. Wait until 35 to invest that same $10,000, you get about $76,000. 10 years of delay cuts your outcome nearly in half. That's not motivation. That's just arithmetic. Quiet financial people understand this, so they don't need the exciting investment. They need the patient one. So here's what I want you to notice about everything we've covered. Automation, emotional detachment from social spending, protecting the spread, slow decisions, boring investments. None of these habits require a finance degree. None of them require a 6-figure salary, and none of them are particularly complicated. What they do require is a shift in identity. The people who master these habits have stopped seeing money as something that happens to them. The paycheck comes in, the bills go out, whatever's left is luck, and started seeing it as something they direct, deliberately, quietly, without needing anyone else to notice or validate it. They've stopped performing wealth and started building it. And that shift, you can make it today, like literally today. All right, let's make this practical. Here are 3 things you can actually do right now. 1. Automate one transfer, just one, even if it's $50 a month into a high-yield savings account or a Roth IRA. Set it and forget it. Start the habit. 2. Identify one performance spend in your budget, something you're paying for more because of how it looks than because of how it genuinely serves you. Question it. You don't have to cut it, just be honest about why it's there. 3. Implement the 48-hour rule on your next non-essential purchase over $50. Write down what you want to buy, wait 48 hours, and then decide. Just try it once and see what happens. The people who never talk about money aren't hiding it to be mysterious. They're quiet because they've already figured something out that most people are still chasing. Money, at its core, is not about showing people where you are. It's about getting yourself to where you want to be. And the quietest, most consistent, most boring path is almost always the fastest one. If this video made you think differently about even one financial habit, do me a favor, drop a comment below and tell me which one hit hardest. I read every single one. Hit that subscribe button if you want more of this kind of content, and share this with someone in your life who needs to hear it, because sometimes the most powerful financial advice isn't found in a book or a course. Sometimes it's a YouTube video that finds you at exactly the right time. I'll see you in the next one.